here we are, Kit. Now, based on what you see, what would you say about my offensive formation in regards to your rule set?
Well, the first thing that I would point out is the line play area where eligible receivers within that particular location are not to have any individuals behind them. One of the common things that's discussed is stacking. And what exactly is stacking? And many leagues have different meanings of this, but in the advanced gameplay rules, it is simply any player within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage cannot have another player behind it on a front-to-back vertical plane.
Okay, so if we start at the quarterback position, the line of scrimmage is the 20-yard line, correct? As you can see.
That's correct.
So now, the quarterback is 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. So that means what you just said is that these two running backs behind the quarterback, this is an illegal formation in your rule set, right?
That would be the case, and the penalty would be assessed against the fullback because he's the very first player that's lined up behind a player who is within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
The quarterback being an eligible receiver, because he is not under center, and that's the only exemption which the quarterback has in the advanced gameplay rules, that particular formation as it currently is configured would be one that's illegal.
Okay, and that penalty would be what considered, that penalty would be called illegal procedure or illegal formation. What would the penalty be called?
That particular penalty is an illegal formation.
Illegal
penalty.
Formation. So, okay, so now based on what you and I have talked about, in order for me to actually hold this formation, I would have to do something like this to that fullback. Turn it, basically, right?
That's correct. No longer is the fullback directly behind the quarterback on a front-to-back vertical plane.
Okay, so the front-to-back vertical plane, are you talking about the back of the base to the quarterback in relation to the front of the base of the fullback?
Yes. In the rule book, that's exactly what's illustrated, and that's what we were trying to prevent with regard to the pushing aspect from any perspective on the field.
Okay, so let me get out my pointer here because I don't want my fingers too much on the table. So again, the front to back would be from the back of the base of the quarterback to the front of the base of the fullback. That's area.
Correct.
That's the area, the back of the plane you're talking about, front to back, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, okay. So now, again, to make this formation legal, I either will have to pivot that fullback like so. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Or I will have to take the fullback and do something like that.
That's correct.
Okay. Let me ask you this. If I did that, that's still illegal.
Still illegal because the fullback is the one that's on a front-to-back vertical plane.
From the player that's 10 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Correct.
And that being the quarterback.
That's correct. Now, the only exemption, and it's covered in the formations, is if the quarterback is under center.
Now, like you said, if it's under center, we move the quarterback up like so.
That's correct.
So now the quarterback is no longer at 10-yard distance from the line of scrimmage.
Well, he's given the exemption only when he is under center. If he moves off the line of scrimmage, he's just like any other eligible receiver at that particular point.
So, okay, under center is, so basically you're treating that almost like being up with the line, basically, having a quarterback under center. Therefore, like you said, he's exempt.
Right. So, and what I wanted to do with that particular concept is to allow for the I formation, which is normally one of the formations that's in football, that would allow that to occur. But if you were going to go to, say, a shotgun or an ace formation, then you're having to deal with an eligible receiver at that particular point in time.
Okay, now, like I said earlier, your rule concerning the quarterback puts my offense in handcuffs. You locking my offense in jail. Do you realize this? Hey, kid, do you realize what you're doing to my offense?
Well, we don't really want to try to do a lot to your offense. What we want to do is we want to be able to provide certain concepts to play out. And this is where it is many leagues can come up with different things. This being one of those concepts allows for, split formations, tailbacks at a very close location. The quarterback is not counted as an eligible receiver when placed under center. And so that's one of the concepts that we wanted to put into place was allow them to be under center, yet prevent the situation or scenario where an offense can't assume an I formation. It's probably one of the few formations that when I thought about it, and ironically enough, it was in watching one of your videos that kind of gave me the impetus for it. You were running a particular formation on one of your YouTube channels, and guys, you all check it out. He ran a particular play that was where he would say, Joseph Adai, deep setback. Well, with this particular formation, you're given that freedom to run that play as you so desire to do. The only thing that we, developing this concept, was to keep the quarterback out of the line play area. So there are some restrictions, but we don't take away that I formation or that deep setback formation that you commonly see in the NFL.
Okay, so here's what now before we go forward, you see how far back my fullback is?
That's correct.
Now, if I wanted to keep this I formation, how close up can this fullback be in relation to the quarterback?
If the quarterback is under center,
right,
you can put him right behind him because he doesn't count. Once he moves forward, and my book explains it clearly, once he moves forward into the 10-yard range, then the next player behind him cannot be on a front-to-back vertical plane.
Okay,
so with that particular setup, and it's illustrated also in the rule book, that formation would be illegal because the fullback is within 10 yards.
Okay.
And the tailback
right here
is behind him on a front-to-back vertical plane.
Okay, so now in order for this formation to work right here, where I got the fullback and the quarterback basically looking like they're stacking here, right?
Exactly.
I got to move the tailback, either pivot the tailback like this or move them over like that.
That's correct.
So now this right here, let's say if I wanted to run the fullback.
Okay.
Hey, tell me how your rule book will cover this type of play. If I say I'm gonna run the fullback, what has to happen here?
Okay. Well, if you're going to run the fullback in that particular setup, the one thing that's very important to remember that in the Tudor Games advanced gameplay, the quarterback has the ability because the offense has the last move. And the quarterback is a player that's not counted in the audibles. So you can turn the quarterback or pivot him in such a fashion that he gets out of the way of the line play. Remember, the concept with regard to the line play area is that there is no situation whereby there's additional pushing by two eligible receivers.
So basically what you're telling me is that really this formation right here would be useless to me then in your rule set, because if I want to run this fullback, okay, I'm going to have to not put him up so close to my quarterback and pivot the quarterback like so.
It's either.
Oh, I can only do one or the other.
Right. I mean, to make the formation such that you would be able to execute it.
Okay. So
So
initially,
I don't want to take away your ability. I don't want to take away your ability to run certain plays, but just understand the concept. The concept in this particular setup, you could place the fullback directly behind the quarterback. Upon the snap, the quarterback gets out of the way.
But see,
and that only way it's achieved is if the quarterback initial move is not toward the line of scrimmage.
okay,
In that instance, you would direct the quarterback to move left or right to get out of the way and allow, which would be something like a dive play.
okay. So now that goes back to controlling phenomenon that I talked about earlier.
Sure.
Now, as the players stand like this, as you see here, upon the switch turning on, there is no way that this quarterback is going to be able to turn away from the offensive line with that little bit of space between the bases.
Right.
So initially, upon initial setup, I'm going to have to get that fullback off this quarterback here, and I'm going to have to move this quarterback a little bit and tip him. Upon initial setup, I'm going to have to do something like this or turn him all the way around like so. So that way, my quarterback won't get pushed into the offensive line. You see?
Right.
Your rule set, according to your rule set, the quarterback cannot push into the offensive line. So
right. It's not involved in the line play.
So this formation, based on what your rule book has shown me, and based on what you said, this formation is in some way a stacking formation, and it's illegal because the quarterback is going to get pushed into this line by way of this fullback.
Right. But the concept that you're assuming is that if defense goes last, one of the unique things about the concept that I have in the primary concept, which is defense goes first, means that the offense has the last move. So with that being the case, what I would do if I were going to run a play such as that, where I was going to execute what is a fullback dive, and with the concepts that we have in place under the Tudor Games rules, Tudor Games advanced gameplay rules, before the snap occurs, which I control, I would turn the quarterback parallel to the line of scrimmage and keep him under center.
Okay, so keep him that close, just like that.
Just remember the concepts.
Okay, so
under center, and it's defined in the rule book as well, is less than 1 yard from the center. So he is under center.
Okay,
that is legal.
So this formation right here,
let
me zoom in. You see?
Right.
So if I did this, you're saying that's good to go.
That's good to go because the quarterback, those concepts are met. The quarterback is not involved in the line play. You wish to run that fullback quick dive right behind the center and the guard. That is a legal formation, and it permits you to be able to run a dive.
Okay, understood. Now I'm gonna show you how your rule set affects me.
Coach, look, it's not about your situation, Coach.
Look, I don't think I'm the only one that's gonna feel this way.
Well, to the extent that this is something that's new, and that there are creative ways once you understand the concepts to be able to meet certain things. One of the things, Coach, that's real unique about my rule book and the rules that I created was I left rules and concepts as rules and concepts. I didn't think about a play and how someone wanted to run it. I leave that to the creativity of the individual coaches.
But I want to show you my creativity in a moment. You know how I like to do, right?
All right. I do.
I want to show you. Now, what you see right here is the ITZ gear dial. All right? This base gives you independent control in the rear and the front. Now, people outside the hobby will be like, well, what does that base guy do with the rules, man? Based on the rules you're giving us, Kit, you have basically put this base, you've basically made this base typically useless.
Well, I want let me offer you this. The Tudor Games rule set is created for
Tudor product.
Tudor Games.
Yeah, I understand.
And
But
with their thought process in mind.
right. But let's just say we went with your rule set, the Tudor Games rule set.
Mm-hmm.
That means I might as well not even consider using this base in the way I want to use it.
Right. Well, if you have a league and you decide that you want to use those type of bases, it's never my intent to, degrade or not have other manufacturers' products on the field. What I just simply offer is the consideration of Tudor Games bases and what their capabilities are as it relates to the freedom that you have on the offensive side of the ball to allow players to execute in the fashion that you want to.
Yes, I understand.
It's not, and it doesn't really care about any particular type of base.
Well, now, you know how I do. I gotta start stuff, man.
Yeah.
I gotta start it up, right?
Well, let me offer you this, my friend. The concept that I've come up with, where defense goes first, it's the first time in 60 years. I mean, we've played this game since 1947, and we've never given any consideration to what if the setup was different. A lot of times, things that I see when I watch YouTube, and I was guilty of it as well as a kid. We just assume that the defense actually sets or makes the last move before the snap of a ball. And it's not true. It's the offense, because they're the ones who control what play you're going to run. So I'm looking at something that's going to start a 60-year-old battle, if you will, 60-year-old entrenched gameplay that many people have played for quite some time. So I'm fully understanding of those particular concepts and, rule sets that other people have created, and I don't in any way want to take from them. I just want to simply emphasize that you have more freedom on offense to run your plays if you become creative with regard to understanding the concepts that are laid forward by Tudor Games' advanced gameplay rules.
Okay, listen. Let's take a break for a moment and let's do some checks, all right?
All right.
All right, stand by.